You wake up in the morning, look at your sleep tracker data, and start making interpretations. I got this much light sleep and this much deep sleep and this much REM sleep. Is that good? Bad? Neutral? Something else? I have a lot of clients who use smartwatches or rings to track their sleep, and the hope is always that the data will improve their sleep. But without any sense of what's typical, that data can really create a lot of unnecessary anxiety about your sleep, which, if you're dealing with insomnia, that is the last thing in the world you want. So, today I want to give you a better understanding of usual sleep architecture, which is just a fancy way of saying what sleep looks like over the course of the night. And I also want to bust some common myths that I hear about sleep stages so that you can have a more informed reaction to your data. So, hi, I'm Jessica. I'm a therapist in Austin who specializes in sleep disorders. So, let's get into some of the basics of sleep architecture before we really get into it. We have four stages of sleep that we cycle through multiple times throughout the night. And they are divided first into REM and non REM. And then non REM is further divided into three stages N1, N2, and N3. Every stage has a purpose. So, N1 is where you are when you first fall asleep at the start of the night, or if you fall back asleep after you wake up during the night. It's the lightest stage of sleep. Wake someone up while they're in N1, they might swear up and down that they weren't even asleep. N2 is a little deeper stage of sleep. You're a little harder to wake up when you're in N2. We actually spend most of our night here. About half the night is spent in N2. N3, this is deep sleep, sometimes called slow wave sleep. You are just about impossible to wake up when you're in N3. Sleepwalking and sleep terrors happen in N3. The person who is sleepwalking or having the sleep terror is virtually unawakeable, and they're going to have no memory of it the next day. And then finally, REM stands for rapid eye movement. Our eyes move side to side very quickly when we're in this stage of sleep. And REM is a pretty light stage of sleep. Most of our dreaming happens in REM. So nightmares are largely happening in REM. So I want to quickly distinguish nightmares from night terrors. They're happening in two different stages of sleep. Night terrors are happening in N3 or deep sleep, so people don't tend to wake up from them or remember them. Nightmares are happening in REM, so people tend to wake up, they tend to remember the nightmare. And looking broadly over the night, you're getting most of your deep sleep in the first half of the night. As the night progresses, you start seeing less deep sleep and more REM sleep. Your smartwatch or your ring is probably labeling core or light as N1 and N2. So, with all of that, let's get to the myths. Myth number one, deep sleep is the only stage that matters. I can understand why people think this. The name deep sleep makes it sound like it's the best kind of sleep, and most people figure, hey, the more the better. And deep sleep is important. There's a lot of important stuff happening in that stage, but every stage of sleep is there for a reason. N1 is an important transitional stage. Falling asleep should be a slow, gradual, gentle process that takes anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. We are not supposed to slam right into deep sleep. In fact, that's exactly what happens if you drink a lot of alcohol before bed. You plunge right into deep sleep, then you rebound out of it, and then the rest of the night is light, fragmented, crappy sleep. I did a whole video about what alcohol does to your sleep, and I will link a card up top if you are interested in that. N2 is also important. It's preparing your brain for the deeper sleep, but also there are some brain processes that are unique to N2 that have to do with creative problem solving and memory consolidation. And REM has its own important jobs. It seems to be really involved in emotional processing and also memory consolidation. So instead of thinking that these stages compete with one another, think of them like a choir. So I did choir all through junior high and high school. And in school choir, they start you out with either all girls or all boys. Then as you get older, you can join the mixed choirs. And I remember what a richer sound and just musical experience it was singing with the guys versus just the girls. Especially one song we did my senior year in high school. I still love it to this day. It's on my Apple Music playlist. It's called Lamentations of Jeremiah. And as the song starts, the basses come in first, then the tenors, then the altos, then the sopranos. Then we're all singing together. But we have our respective jobs. And it was just really cool. So think of your sleep stages like that. They all have a role and they're all working together. So myth number 2, REM sleep is deep sleep. This one surprises a lot of people. REM sleep is actually a light stage of sleep. It's much more akin to N1. You are easy to wake up when you're in REM sleep, which is why nightmares don't wake people up, but night terrors, which is why nightmares do wake people up, but night terrors, which happen in REM sleep, don't. Your brain in REM is incredibly active. This is where most of your dreaming happens. REM sleep is also called paradoxical sleep because your brain is super active, but your body is paralyzed. This is by design to keep you from acting out your dreams. But this can go awry. Like, for example, in narcolepsy, where people have a symptom called sleep paralysis, the transition between sleep and wakefulness is unstable in people with narcolepsy. So they are conscious, but also still in REM, and thus their body is paralyzed. Myth 3, you should be in deep sleep most of the night. For a healthy adult, N3 sleep is 10 to 20% of the total sleep time. That's it. You know when your nap goes on too long and you wake up and you're like, where am I? What am I? What is time itself? It's because you were asleep long enough to go into deep sleep. And waking up right out of deep sleep sucks. It takes so long to orient to what's going on. We are set up to get most of that deep sleep earlier in the night. And as it gets closer to the morning, our sleep gets lighter, which makes it easier to wake up. You need all the stages. We don't want to just listen to the tenors for an hour and a half when we got the whole choir here. Myth number 4, my sleep tracker knows exactly what stage I'm in. So the best way to know what sleep stage you're in is to hook you up to an EEG, which is a device that measures your brain waves. That's what's often happening in sleep studies. That's the way to definitively know. Your watch does not have an EEG. It's making an educated guess using things like movement, heart rate, maybe breathing patterns. So you're getting an estimate. And we meaning sleep clinicians, can't always vouch for how accurate those consumer grade wearables are. A lot of the algorithms just aren't publicly available. I'll also say here that I don't like wearables for people with insomnia or really anybody with anxiety about their sleep, because people start obsessing over the data and trying to optimize. You want to know the best way to keep your insomnia going? Obsess over it. I did a whole video about how trying harder to sleep makes it worse. I'll link a card above. So the classic situation is you wake up, you feel like you slept okay, then your watch tells you something different, then you start worrying about it. So it just becomes this solution in search of a problem. So instead of thinking of sleep stages in a hierarchy, think of them like a really good ensemble cast. So The Golden Girls, which is my all-time favorite TV show, that show really needed all 4 of those ladies to be what it was. So when B. Arthur left the show, they tried to keep it going with Golden Palace. And I know there's probably some Golden Palace. There's Golden Palace fans out there. And it wasn't that the show was bad, but it was not the Golden Girls. It was never going to be the Golden Girls. And I think that would have been the case if any of the 4 had left. I don't think it was just B. Arthur. So the next time your watch tells you something about how you slept, I hope this video helps you put it in the proper context. And also, don't discount how you feel. That's important too. I always tell people, I'm treating you, not your watch. I want to know how you feel. So if you found this helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. My channel focuses on sleep. It's a small channel, but I have tons of content ideas, so there's lots more to come. And I would love to know in the comments, do you find your sleep tracker helpful? Or does it just give you more anxiety? So thanks for watching, and bye for now.